Stephen Smith, welcome to News 24.
Pleasure.
We'll come to the success report and your Afghanistan update in a moment, but there are claims today Australian SAS troops in the Iraq war played a role in potentially illegally detention of Iraqi prisoners of war. In The Guardian, it says it has a US military document that an SAS squadron was integral to the operations of a secret facility, a so-called black site, thought to be a secret prison used for interrogation. Do you have any knowledge of a role that the SAS might have played?
Well, firstly, I've got no knowledge of these matters at all. These were matters before the government was elected, so they were matters during the period of the previous government. And so really, if people want to pursue it, they've got to speak to ministers in the previous government. But having said that, there are a number of points I think that generally need to be made. Firstly, historically, successive Australian governments and the ADF have prided ourselves on the fact that we have very high standards in this area. In Iraq, we were not a detaining authority, and the advice I've got this morning is essentially that these allegations are baseless and there's nothing in it. It's also, I think, important to bear in mind that when allegations about comparable matters were made during the period of the previous government, there were exhaustive analysis through a range of Senate inquiries and Senate hearings. The ADF essentially went through all of its materials with an eye to, was Australia exposed to any of these criticisms or allegations in any way? And the answer was no. So the advice I've got is there's nothing in it, but it's not something that I would either appropriately or normally have access to in terms of the raw data or the raw materials.
You say it was a time when the coalition government is in power, but the Defence Department hasn't changed. Is it not worth a look back again just to check that Australian forces in Iraq did maintain standards of international and Australian law?
The advice I've got this morning from Defence is that there is nothing in these allegations, that the allegations are baseless, and that, for example, the suggestion that the SAS was involved, this was the area that is being described, was not part of the SAS's area of operation. So as a number of general responses, firstly, we were not a detaining authority, and so we didn't have responsibility for detainee management, unlike circumstances in Afghanistan today, which is why we are being so careful about those details. But secondly, it wasn't within the SAS's area of operation, and the advice I've got is, to put it bluntly, that there is nothing in these allegations. More importantly, in the course of the previous government's time, in the course of the Iraq conflict and the aftermath, the ADF, as a result of a range of Senate inquiries, went through all of its materials searching for evidence or examples or evidence of difficulty, and none was found. If people want to pursue this, then they are pursuing historical events. Yes, the ADF continues as an organisation, and the advice I've got today is that there is nothing in these allegations.
If we could